root of a. Or now we come across the exercise 2.3. In exercise 2.3, exercise 2.3 on page number 45. The first question is, write each radical expression in exponential form and each exponential expression in radical notation. Do not simplify. We have some parts. The first part is cube root of negative 64. The second part is in exponential form 2 raised to power 3 by 5. The third part is negative 7 raised to power 1 by 3, and the fourth one is y negative 2 by 3. Here we convert the radical expression into exponential notation and exponential expression into radical notation. The first number is written in a radical expression. The first number is written in a radical expression form. We convert it into a exponential notation or exponential expression. How we convert it into a exponential expression or notation? We write 64 negative with bracket, and it's a cube root. Cube root means we write here 1 by 3. This expression, this radical expression, is converted into exponential expression, which is negative 64 raised to power 1 by 3. Now the second one is exponential expression. We convert it into a radical expression. How we convert it into a radical expression? 2 raised to power 3. This 5, that is originally 1 by 5, is written in a radical form. Here we write 5, it converts into a radical form. This exponential expression is converted into a radical form, which is 5 fifth root of 2 raised to power 3. Similarly, we write the next one, negative 7 cube root. How we convert it into a radical form? We convert it into a radical form as negative 7 cube root. Cube root of negative 7. We write 3 before the symbol, radical symbol, and 7 inside the radical symbol. Similarly, at last, we write 3 y raised to power minus 2. We convert radical expression into a exponential expression and exponential expression into a radical expression. If there is any question, please raise your hand. If someone didn't understand what is the radical expression and exponential expression, raise your hand.
Amisha.
Amin Shah, Hamid Shah. Okay, now we move on the next question, question number 2. Question number 2 is, tell whether the following statement are true or false. The first expression is 5 1 by 5 is equal to square root 5. The second expression is 2 by 3 is equal to 3 square root 4. The third one is square root 49, which is equal to square root 7. And the fourth one is x raised to power 27 cube root is equal to x raised to power 3. The first expression is a false expression. The first expression is a false expression. The first expression is a false expression. Why? Reason? Here we write the reasons. Reason is fifth square root. The reason is 5 exponential form 1 by 5 can be written in radical form as 5 fifth root of 5. But we have here the fifth root of 5 is equal to square root of 5, which is false statement. That's why we write here false. Now the second one is it's true, because we can write 2 raised to power 2 by 3 as 2 raised to power 2 by 3 as 2 square 1 by 3 cube root. Cube root of 2 square means cube root of 4. 2 square becomes 4. Here we see that 2 exponential 2 by 3 is equal to cube root of 4, which is the true statement. And the next one is also false. Next one statement is also false, because we know that square root 49. How can we write square root 49? It's a 7 square. After cancellation square with square root, we have only 7. But in the statement, we see that here not only 7, here write square root 7. That's why square root 49 is not equal to square root 7. And lastly, this statement is also false. Reason? Reason is we can write x raised to power 27 cube root as x raised to power 27 into 1 by 3. After cancellation 3 with 27, we get 9. It becomes x raised to power 9. But in question here we see that this expression be written equal to x raised to power 3, which is false statement. Clear? Now we move on the next question, question number 3. The question number 3 is, question number 3, simplify the following radical expressions. Simplify the following radical expressions. Here we simplify these following radical expression. The first radical expression is 3 raised to power negative 125. How we convert it into a simplest form? First of all, how we make a pair of 125? That is LCM. 125. Here we write 5. How many times? 25 times becomes 125. Then again 5 5 times becomes 25, and at last 5 1 times becomes 5. Here we see that if we multiply 5 with 5, then again we multiply it with 5, it becomes 125. Clear? It means there are 3 5s. 5 into 5 into 5 becomes 125. Or if we see the powers of these 5s, there is 5 raised to power 1, 5 raised to power 1, 5 raised to power 1. If the bases are same, if the bases are same and the numbers are multiplied with each other, then we add these bases. Then we add these powers to convert into a power or degree form. 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 125, which means that 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 125. Now, here we write 3 negative 125. First of all, we convert it into exponential form. What is exponential form? 125 into 1 by 3. Here we write 125 is equal to 5 raised to power 3. Here we write 5 raised to power 3 is equal to 1 by 3. After cancellation, this 3 with this number, we get negative 5 raised to power 1, which is the required answer in simplest form. Which is the required answer in simplest form. Now we move on the next part. The next part is the second part, which is fourth root of 32. Fourth root of 32. What is the solution or its simplest form? First of all, we make its pair by LCM method. 32 on 2 table it becomes 16, 2 it becomes 8, 2 it becomes 4, 2 it becomes 2, and at last 2 it becomes 1. We see here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2's. That is 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 32. 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 32. Now, first of all, we write this expression in exponential form. That is 32 can be written as 32 raised to power 1 by 5. 32 raised to power 1 by 4. Now, 32 can be written as 2 raised to power 5. Or we can also write it as 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1, because 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1 is equal to 2 raised to power 5. 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1 is equal to 2 raised to power 5. Therefore, we write it as 2 raised to power 4, 2 raised to power 1, because in exponential form we have a power in the form of 4. That's why we write it into a 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1. Now we separate out this exponent power with both of the numbers. That is 1 by 4 is separated with 2 raised to power 4, and 1 by 4 is separated 2 raised to power 1. After cancellation, we see that here becomes 2 raised to power 1 and 2 raised to power 1 by 4. 2 raised to power 1 and 2 raised to power 1 by 4. Now, after more simplification, it becomes 2, and we can write it in exponential form, that is 4, a radical form, that is a fourth root of 2, which is our required answer. Now we move on the next part. There are 2 parts left. We solve one of them. We solve the third part. The third part is 5 fifth root of 3 by 32. How we convert fifth root of 3 by 32 into simplest form? First of all, we convert it into a exponential form. What is exponential form? 3 by 32 raised to power 1 by 5. Or in other words, we can say that the fifth root of 3 by 32. Now, we make a pair of number 32. On 2 table, it becomes 16. It becomes 8, it becomes 4, 2 and 1. How many 2's are there? There are 5 2's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we write, first of all we separate 1 by 5th root with 3 and 1 by 5th root with 32. After more simplification, 3 raised to power 1 by 5 our 2 raised to power 5 bracket 1 by 5. This 5 is cancelled with this 5. We get fifth root of 3 over 2 raised to power 1, which is our required answer. If there is any question, please raise your hand. And Tokir Ahmed. Tokir Ahmed.
Yes, sir. Sir, can you show the second question?
Question number?
Question number 2.
Question number 2.
Yes, sir.
In question number 2 question number 2 or question number 3 part 2?
Sir, question number 3 part 2.
Question number 3 part 2.
Yes,
The
sir.
previous one?
Yes, sir.
Question number 3 part 2. Here we see that we have a radical number which is fourth root of 32. First of all, we convert this radical number into exponential form. How we convert it into exponential form? First of all, we write 32 and this root of 4 means 1 by 4. We write it in the form of 1 by 4. Now, after making pairs, here we see if we take LCM of 32, we have on 2 table it becomes 16, then again on 2 table it becomes 8, then again on 2 tables it becomes 4, again 2 tables it becomes 2 and on 2 table it becomes 1. Here we see that how many 2's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. But our power is in the form of 4. That's why we write it 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1. Because 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1 is equal to 2 raised to power 5. Here we write instead of 32, 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1 because 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1, that is 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 32. Instead of 32 we can write as 2 raised to power 4 and 2 raised to power 1. Now after this apply the property of radical. What is the property of radical? Is if we have two numbers in the product form and there is a power or exponential power, we have write it as a raised to power 1 by n and b raised to power 1 by n separately on these two real numbers. Therefore we separate this 1 by 4 with 4 and this 1 by 4 with 1. In next step you see here, after cancellation 4 with 4 we have 2 raised to power 1 and after multiplying 1 by 4 it have 2 raised to power 1 by 4. Now this 2 can written in a same form, but 2 raised to power 1 by form again we can write it into a radical form. Yes.
Sir, what does this point represent?
Again repeat.
So what does this dot represent between?
Dot represent multiplication.
Yes.
Dot represent multiplication.
Okay,
Tokir
sir.
Ahmed, what's
Thank
your
you.
question?
Sir, I was saying this.
Yeah. Okay, now we come across the next exercise. Exercise 2.4. Exercise 2.4. Exercise 2.4. Very, very, very important exercise on page number 46. Exercise 2.4. Before exercise, we have some properties. What are these properties? Here we write the properties. The first one is, if we have two numbers, for example, a raised to power n, and the second one is b raised to power n, we can write this dot represent multiplication. We can write it as a dot b raised to power n. Similarly, the second property, if we have a raised to power n and b raised to power n, we can write it as a over b with single power n. Similarly, if we have a raised to power n and the other number which is a raised to power m, here we see that the bases are same. Bases are same. Bases a and a, bases are same. That's why we can add the power with each other. That's why we can write base one time and add power with each other. N is added to m. Similarly, if we have if we have a raised to power n over a raised to power m, again the bases are same but number is written in divisible form. Now we write base one time and subtract these two powers, that is n is subtracted by m. Or simply again, if we in a number form, if you understand for more a raised to power 2 into b raised to power 2, we can write it as a dot b raised to power 2. Clear? Similarly, if we have a second one, a raised to power 5 b raised to power 5, that is powers are same, we write a over b in a divisible form and with single power. Similarly, if we have a raised to power 3 and a raised to power 5, we can write base one time and add the power. What is 3 plus 5? It becomes 8. At last, if we have a raised to power 5 over a raised to power 3, bases are same, we subtract 3 from 5, it becomes 5 minus 3, which is a square. After simplification, it becomes a square. Clear to everyone? Now we come across the first question. The first question is, the first question of the exercise is, use, if we move on the next page, it's better than to move on. Exercise 2.4. The first question is, use laws of exponents to simplify. To simplify the question, here we use the laws of exponents. These are the laws of exponents. These are the laws of exponents. We use these laws and to simplify such questions. The first part is 243 negative 2 by 3, 32 negative 1 by 5, and 196 raised to power negative 1. First of all, we convert the powers in positive form. Here we see that in denominator the power is negative 1. The power is negative 3 by 2 and the power is negative 1 by 5. First of all, we convert denominator into numerator and numerator into denominator. After numerator conversion, it becomes 96 raised to power 1 over 243 raised to power 2 by 3. Similarly, 32 raised to power 1 by 5. That is, the powers becomes positive when we convert numerator into denominator and denominator into numerator. Now, we see here 196. If we multiply 14 with 14, it becomes 196. That is, square of 14 becomes 196. 14 is multiplied with 14, it becomes 196. And then if we make a pair of 32, it becomes 216, 28, 24, 22 and 21. That is 2 raised to power 5 is equal to 32. Similarly, if we make a pair of 243, it's 243. If we make a pair of 243, on 3 table it becomes 81, again 27, again 9, then 3, at last 1. Now we write the question, which is square root 196 243 raised to power 2 by 3 raised to power 2 by 3 and 32 raised to power 1 by 5. Now here we see that 196 is equal to 14 square is equal to 196. Instead of 196 we can write 14 square, and instead of 243 we can write 3 raised to power 5, it becomes 2 by 3, and 32 2 raised to power 5 raised to power 1 by 5. After cancellation, here we see square is cancelled with square root, 5 is cancelled with 5, we have 14 over 3. If 5 is multiplied with 2, this 5 is multiplied with 2, it becomes 10 by 3 and 2 raised to power 1. Now it becomes 14, 3, 10 by 3 into 2. If we cancel 2 with 14, it becomes 7. The next step is 7 divided by 3 raised to power 10 by 3. Now we convert this 3 raised to power 10 by 3 into simplest form. When we divide 10 with 3, it becomes 3 times 9, 1. That is, we can write it as 3 whole 1 by 3. That is, 3 whole 1 by 3 is equal to 10 by 3. Again, we see here, if we multiply this 3 with 3, it becomes 9, and then we add it with 1, it becomes 10 divided by 3. We can write it as 7, 3 whole 1 by 3. Now after more simplification, we get 3 raised to power 3 and 3 raised to power 1 by 3. We separate out the exponent power. Now we have 7 over 27, because 3 multiplied by 3 times it becomes 27. That is, 3 raised to power 3 is equal to 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. It becomes 27. And what is the radical form of 3 raised to power 1 by 3? Radical form is square root 1 by 3, which is our required answer. Which is our required answer. Now the time is over. Inshallah, we repeat this question in the next lecture. If there is any problem, then we repeat these questions of exercise, this question of exercise 2.4 in next tomorrow's lecture. Inshallah, time, we have 1 minute more in